What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Second Stringers podcast. My name is Will Baldwin, and with me, as always, is Paul Guado. Paul, how's it going?
It's going well. Happy to be back, finally.
Yeah, it was a unfortunate gap, but I don't know what to say about the gap this time. There was
exams, you know?
Yeah.
It's university's not as easy as we thought it was. Let's put it that way.
University underrated. Yeah, crack jokes about university, but let's just dive right into the games because Paul, of course, is an exam to get to, so can't waste too much time on that. The first game of yesterday that we're going to start with, because it's the game that most people care about, is the Carolina Panthers heading to Atlanta to take on the Falcons.
Absolutely electric game.
Paul, I will give you $20 if you can tell me who the leading receiver for the Falcons was yesterday.
Okay, let me think. Julio had a nice catch.
Are you ready?
They've got some decent receivers, man. Let me go with Calvin Ridley.
It was Olamide Zaccheaus.
Huh?
He had one catch for 93 yards and a touchdown. He had the 93-yard bomb.
That's a true second stringer's stat line right there.
Olamide Zaccheaus, rookie out of Virginia. Congratulations, man, because you're the only guy we're going to talk about in this game that no one cares about. Let's move on.
Good call.
And tackle the next game on the ESPN list for some reason, but it's a good one, and it's one of our spotlight ones. The Buffalo Bills at home to Lamarvelous and the Ravens. What's your favorite Lamar Jackson nickname?
I don't know. I've heard many good ones.
I'm a big proponent of Action Jackson.
Give the guy the whitest nickname possible, I guess, is the idea.
Did you see he wore white sleeves yesterday?
Yeah, and the white glove. Was that to get back at the old whites in the press?
I hope so.
I thought that was hilarious.
I really hope that's why he did it. He didn't even play well. Okay, honestly, what people are going to tell you about this game is that it was an inevitable Baltimore win. Lamar balled out, whatever. He actually didn't play that well in this game.
Yep.
The Bills' defense was unreal in this game again. This defense is so legit. And there was actually a couple questionable calls down the stretch of the third quarter heading into the fourth that if they had gone the Bills' way, they might have actually won this game. Josh Allen struggled at times, but he also made some plays. His stat line's not gonna excite you too much, but he was, I think, better than the stat line of 17 of 39 indicates. He made a couple big throws.
Yeah.
The reality is the Bills are one draft and free agency away from refining the offense a little more around him.
Yep.
They need to add some more talent, but they have a back in Singletary. Singletary's a dude.
Singletary's awesome. 17 carries, 89 yards.
They got a legit bell cow. They have a player there.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Frank Gore as well, an undersized back that's just going to pound the rock every single play, put his shoulder pads down and try to get those extra yards. He's a guy I'm definitely cheering for, and he really helps Josh Allen. I'd like to see Josh Allen run it more than he did yesterday, to be honest, because he's so mobile and he's so good on his feet that when he runs the ball, it's just a whole different level of attack. But they have a legit number one back now, which you love to see for Buffalo.
The Ravens did an amazing job of keeping Josh in the pocket all game.
Mm-hmm.
And staying in their gaps and the defensive line and not over rushing too much and forcing him to really stay there and not letting him escape. It was a really good game plan for them. Baltimore just continues to show that they are probably the best coach team in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Like normally you'd give it to the Patriots, but the Patriots made some weird mistakes yesterday. And they have throughout the year. But Baltimore is just like, it seems every game they throw a new wrinkle in offensively, whether it's with the Heisman package or some weird new formation that allows Lamar to get more space on a read option play. Like they just like add little things in. And then defensively, like this game plan was a masterpiece against Josh Allen. After how well he played in Dallas, it was really interesting to see if he could keep the momentum going. And Baltimore did a really amazing job with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's pretty safe to say that Lamar has wrapped up the MVP.
Yeah, unless he tanks the next few games, I don't think there's much of a way that he can lose it.
They basically have to lose 3 in a row, and he would have to be like borderline unwatchable.
Yeah, exactly. He's been unbelievable. He's really, like so many people have been talking about, transforming that quarterback position. I don't know if he is. I just think he's such a anomaly for that position that you can't figure out how to stop him. I mean, every game he makes at least one guy fly in the air.
Did you see that play where Milano just came in completely free and Lamar just like juked him like 6 times, and on the 5th one he just went flying?
Yeah, he just sat in the air for a minute and was just like watched Lamar sprint by him, and it's
it was bizarre. It was like, yeah, Pat McAfee retweeted and it was like, in case you forgot, this is a professional athlete he did this to.
Yeah, that's insane that he did that. Like, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I appreciated that Pat tweeted that, because I think sometimes we forget when guys get embarrassed that these are literal professional athletes. Like, that's how good Lamar is in the open field, that he can make a guy who makes millions of dollars just get humiliated. Like, that was like, that's gonna be on that might be the play Milano is most remembered for, is just getting completely juked out of his cleats.
Yeah, and you can't even do anything about that. Like, that's just how untouchable he is, how slippery he is. And I think at this point he's my favorite quarterback in the NFL to watch play, because you never know what's coming on the next play.
Yeah. And then with the Bills, I mean, like we said, they're the one draft and free agency away from being a real problem in the AFC. This year's a really good step forward for them, and I, for one, am excited to see what they do, because I think they're one of the best coach teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So let's move on and tackle the next game on our radar. Oh, man. The Cincinnati Bengals take on their in-state rivals, the Fighting Odell Beckham Jr., who doesn't join huddles. What did you think of this game, Paul?
It was a gross game to watch. It was on Red Zone way too much. Once Cincy went up, Cincinnati went up, I was really hoping that they'd win the game, to be honest with you. But I mean, Odell had a couple nice catches. Jarvis did as well. Baker's inconsistency with putting the ball in spots has been kind of worrying, I think, if you're a Browns fan, because that's what he was known to be good at. Baker Mayfield's been throwing balls that have been in the wrong location.
He's good for a minimum of at least one complete airmail every game.
Exactly, and that's
and
worrying.
They usually get picked.
Yeah, and yesterday there was a bad one that soared about 10 feet over the receiver's head, and then the safety, I guess it's Cincinnati, so the safety's not catching that, even if they're right there. So, but on a competent team, there's normally a safety hovering right in that zone to pick the ball off, and you need to coach that out of Baker Mayfield, I think, at the end of the day. So.
Oh, yeah. If there's anyone who will believe that can coach Baker out of stuff, it'll be Freddie Kitchens. So,
the man, the myth, the legend.
But I think what everyone wants to hear about this game is that a huge shout out to Joe Mixon for dropping 26 fantasy points for me
Oof.
in a big playoff victory. Thanks for showing up, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, we love you, Joe. Baker's stat line in this game, by the way, 11 to 24 for 192 and 2 picks. That's rough.
That's yeah, that's not a great game.
Yeah, that was a rough one. Uh, let's head on to another great game. It was a playoff game because one team actually got eliminated from playoff contention, believe it or not, in this one. The Green Bay Packers taking on a Redskins team that, man, they just didn't quite have enough to win the NFC East this year.
Yeah, just a little bit short. I mean, they came out flat at the start of the year, had a bit of QB controversy, switched their head coach. I thought they had it figured out. They were at a 0.1% chance to make the playoffs 2 weeks ago, I think, and that's when I decided that I would cheer for the Redskins to make the playoffs. They play in the worst division in all of football right now, so, I mean, you can only pray for a guy like Dwayne Haskins. So
3-10 boys. You finally got eliminated. Congratulations on a great season. You guys fought hard. You guys showed a lot of fight to stay in the race until week 13. It was definitely not due to other people failing and was due to you guys being good. That's for sure. That's why it lasted this long.
I don't know about good. I'd say great.
um, Jokes aside, Terry McLaurin's an absolute stud. Like that
Oh,
guy's
he's unbelievable.
that catch he made at the end of the game was nuts.
And honestly, Dwayne Haskins isn't that bad. He's been progressing a lot through his starts, and he's one of those guys I've been kind of following because I liked him when he played for Ohio State. So, yeah, he hasn't been terrible. I mean,
Yeah, he's been fine.
he took a selfie instead of taking a knee. That's pretty bad, but
Hey,
that's old news at this point.
they say act like you've been there before, but what if you haven't? So
Yeah, the thing is, what if there's a very good chance that Washington never wins another game. So that could be his only win in his career. Got to celebrate it.
yeah, you never know. I mean, honestly, the Packers looked awful in this game. Like the Packers are not good. Like I don't. The Packers are like very quietly only beating bad teams.
Mm-hmm. And
Like
I think that's very concerning if you're a Packers fan. I don't think that they have their defense in the first few weeks was what we were talking about to be the
yeah,
exciting addition to that team, but
the
it's
Packers. The Packers' best win this year is Week 2 at home against Minnesota when they scored 21 points in the first quarter and then didn't score again and almost lost.
jeez.
But like all their wins that we thought were impressive, like the Dallas one, turns out Dallas sucks.
Is god awful, yeah.
So right on Monday Night Football, yeah. Oakland, okay. Chiefs without Mahomes. Like Carolina. Their losses are exclusively to the teams that they've played that are like either are decent.
Or have injured quarterbacks.
Yeah. So we'll see
Yeah,
what
that's
happens with
tough.
the Packers going forward. They have an interesting finish to their schedule because they
Yep.
have Vikings and Bears down the stretch back to back. So
Yeah, those will be two good games. They always tend to be exciting games.
yeah, they got the Bears at home next week, so I'm really curious to see what happens there
That'll be very interesting.
because the Bears have started to play better quietly, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so let's move on and talk about the other NFC North game from yesterday, the Lions against Vikings. Paul, how much of this game did you watch? Be
Probably about the 30 seconds that was on Red Zone, and that's about it.
Paul,
Yeah.
who was the Lions quarterback in this game?
Oof. That is a good question. Who played? Oh, Blow?
Yeah, David Blow.
I love that guy.
What?
I'm
Man,
joking.
the Lions have been devastated by injuries. Like they're quietly the team that's gotten most killed by injuries this year.
Yeah, and I remember talking about them in the first few weeks of the year, talking about how, for their record, they should have more wins. And yeah, they've been devastated by injuries. I think that they are on the right track. Of
They're the
course,
most.
there's a lot of Matt Patricia out of town talks right now, but
I don't think they're going to do that.
yeah, I think that would be quite silly if they did that because
I think
everybody knows he'd probably just end up back in New England. So,
I think you got to give them one more year because they were
yep.
showing some progress this year, and the reality is the Lions are doing it right because they showed progress, and then their quarterback hurt, and then they're not going to win another game.
Yeah, look at San Francisco last year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So they're gonna get a high draft pick really quietly, and all of a sudden they're gonna be way better next year than I think people are gonna expect.
Mm-hmm.
But this year not great, and then the Vikings good bounce back win after Monday Night Football.
Yeah,
They're a dangerous team that I don't think anyone wants to play in the playoffs.
yeah, I'm with you on that, and I'm assuming Adam Thielen's going to come back by playoff time. Of course, that hamstring's been keeping him out for a couple of weeks now, but once he's back, that's a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're just being really cautious with him after what happened last time when they brought him back too early and then obviously got hurt right away. So
I would be too. Yeah.
better be safe than sorry. Let's up next is the pretty undisputed game of the day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The San Francisco 49ers head down to New Orleans and take on the Saints in a game that featured supposedly two of the best defenses in the NFL, although neither of them attended the game apparently. Because I can't really think of a time either defense made a stop.
No, honestly, it was just a complete offensive game, which was what I did not expect.
Yeah, the only time the Niners made stops was on 2-point conversions. Like, if you think about it. Did Morstead even punt? I'm pretty sure Morstead didn't punt. I can't. Yeah, he punted once.
Jeez.
So the Saints had one punt and one turnover. The fumble. Man, the drive chart for this game is hilarious. For both teams. Ready for this?
Yep.
Touchdown, 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 punt. Touchdown, 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 punt. Touchdown, end of half. Interception, interception, field goal, punt, fumble, touchdown, field goal, punt, downs, touchdown, touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal.
That's an electric game. That's what I think this could have taken the game of the year spot just because of how fun it was to watch these offenses just go back and forth trading blows the whole game.
Yeah, this game was an absolute masterpiece by Kyle Shanahan. I mean, he threw everything in the playbook he had at the Saints and then added a couple plays after that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy, yeah. Before the season, Cowherd was like, Kyle Shanahan is the next Belichick, like you guys watch, and everyone made fun of him. Like, I'm sorry, but you guys owe Cowherd an apology for that. This Shanahan is unbelievable. Like the guy is. He had one bad play call the entire game.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Where they had the ball in the Saints red zone, driving down for a potential touchdown to go up 2 possessions or a field goal. And he called a play action instead of continuing to run it. And if he had continued to run it, I guarantee you they would have gotten a first down and iced the clock there. Because the way they were running it was like 6 yards a clip every time. So
yeah.
I don't know the play action. I think he overthought the room a little bit there, but I mean, otherwise, fullback option, receiver throw, like you name it, they probably did it in this game. And yeah, it was a masterpiece by him. And they're fun to watch, man. And George Kittle is a certified dude.
Oh my God. That huge catch by him to pretty much win the game for San Francisco. That was unbelievable.
That was the grown man play of the year.
Yep.
Like the crazy part about the Niners and like the terrifying part is they're gonna have a bunch of cap room after this year, believe it or not. Like they're honestly a year away. Like they're supposed to be just like a good playoff team this year. They're not supposed to be a Super Bowl threat this year.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about them.
That's insane.
Look, they are really something else. And then on the other side for the Saints, I mean the injuries to AJ Klein and Kiko Alonso really I think cost them the game. I mean
Yep.
Craig Robertson, I love the guy. He's a fan favorite in New Orleans for a reason. He's like one of the bet. He's one of the guys in the NFL you cheer for. Like he's a great dude. But there's a reason he's a special teamer on this team, and he got continuously exposed all game.
Yeah.
And Demario was honestly fine at the other linebacker position, but Craig just got exposed. I mean, on those back-to-back plays where they would fake it to the right and then come back to the left, and it was basically a one-on-one with Craig Robertson and either Juszczyk or I believe it was Sanders the second time. No, it was Debo the second time on the receiving touchdown. Who
Okay. Yeah.
it doesn't matter when they ran the same play twice in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, it might have been. It doesn't matter. I think it was Kittle actually. Yeah, it was the Kittle play where he reached over the. Sorry, there was like 86 touchdowns in this game, so it's hard to which touchdown was which. But they ran basically the same play two times in a row and just went right at Craig Robertson, and it was like, yeah, everybody knows that Craig is kind of lacking, and then Eli Apple got exposed all game, but that's nothing new.
Yep.
The Saints need to get healthy on defense if they're going to realize their Super Bowl potential this year. I think, to say the least, like the D line was actually pretty decent. They were able to get some pressure on Jimmy at times,
Hmm.
and honestly, the secondary wasn't even terrible outside of a couple mistakes from PJ Gardner Johnson and Apple. Like there's some mistakes, don't get me wrong, but a lot of the plays were just masterpiece play calls by Kyle Shanahan scheming guys open.
Yeah. No. Yeah. 100%. It was
I would,
a.
I guarantee you, if these two teams met in the playoffs, take the under because it will be exactly like the NFC title game last year, where I don't know if people remember, but the first time the Saints and Rams played, it was exactly like this. It was like a 50-point game for both teams. Like it was crazy back and forth. Everyone just kept scoring. Like there was no defense at all. And then the NFC title game was a tight 23-20 game. Or I think it was 23-20 was the final score. I guarantee you if these two teams play in the playoffs, the same thing would happen. Because
Yeah. That's a good bet.
if you gave these teams a chance to like look, because it's so hard to make in-game adjustments when the offenses are rolling, and the defenses even were better in the second half. Like
Hmm.
I read through that drive chart. There was an obvious improvement in the second half.
Yeah.
So if you gave these teams some more health, because the Niners, don't forget, didn't have D Ford, and I don't think Sherm was healthy either. So
No, he got hurt on like the second play.
yeah, and also their safety was out, whose name is Sweet. I can't remember what it is. Who his name is? The guy who is escaping, but his name is cool. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure who you're talking about. I don't remember
I'll
off the
find
top of my
I'll,
head.
I'll find him. Tart Jaquiski.
Oh yeah,
He didn't play either.
that's a
So
top 5 NFL name.
yeah, that's a great name. Anyway, defenses left a lot to be desired, but the offenses were great.
Yep.
The entire NFL media owes Drew Brees an apology for saying he looked washed after he came back from his thumb injury. Just shows people were box score scouting and weren't actually watching him play, because that was one of the like 5 or 10 best games Drew has played in his career.
Yeah, that was good.
He had the guy had 6 total touchdowns and 0 turnovers. Like
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, I'd take that.
he was all right. And
All right, I guess.
and then the other thing for the Saints, Jared Cook going down was killer.
Oh yeah, that's you never want to see guys get hurt, and
It's
especially when they're a guy with such a big impact on the offense. So that's a tight end getting hurt can completely derail a team's.
it's hard it's
Uh,
hard it's hard to complain saying it hurt your team when you still scored 46 points.
yeah,
But I really think it did make a difference, especially towards the end of the half where the offense kind of stalled.
yeah,
I think Sean went, and then when they had to kick a couple field goals, Sean had his game plan set around Jared, and to only get 2 shot plays into him, like they threw it to Jared Cook twice, and each went for over 25 yards. Like the guy was looking next level. So for him to get hurt was a dagger for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But also shout out Deontay Harris. I'm glad everyone knows who you are now. Saints fans love you. You're a freak show. And if you're listening, please send me your high school and college tape because I want to watch what you would look like kick returning against high school and college guys because it's hilarious in the NFL. So I want to see what it looked like because you played at the low level. So I think it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, make sure you tag him in that. And
Yeah.
if you listen to this on Twitter or something, make sure you get it, tag him in it, and
DMs are
that'd
open.
be cool.
Paul, oh man, you know what's up next?
Oh yeah,
The Finns game.
it was a game. I mean, garbage officiating in the last 10 seconds of the game really cost the game for the Miami Dolphins on a
I saw
really
that.
bad pass interference
That was
call
a
that
call.
somehow New York got. I mean, what can you do about it? We played a game that we should have won. It would have got us out of the bottom 5 for draft picks. So I guess it is a good thing that we did win it. But come on, like you can't be calling terrible pass interference calls that are is going to cost a team a game. Come on, refs. I mean,
Man.
tough go for Miami. We should have won. It should have been.
Is there a worse offensive line in the NFL than the Jets?
Miami's was bad, but then we got a couple starters back. Yeah, I don't think there is.
Let's all be honest with ourselves. It's not like you guys have a nasty defensive line down in Miami, and you guys were all over Darnold all game. The guys running for his life.
I mean, Brian Flores is a great defensive mind. That's what he's known for, and hopefully his defensive prowess can pay off in the future for us. I mean, I think that Miami's putting themselves in a good spot for the future. I hurt to see Devontae Parker go down pretty early, but hopefully he's back and healthy soon. Because when he plays like he did last week, he's unstoppable. He could be next year a top 10 receiver in the league. Write that down. So, yeah.
I didn't realize you guys didn't score a touchdown this game. You guys kicked 7 field goals?
7 field goals, yep. That's why you pay the kicker, man.
Where did he miss from? Was it like a reasonable miss?
Forget. I missed his miss. This game wasn't the most important thing on my mind during the game. Put it that way.
It was 34 yards that he missed.
Yikes.
That hurts. Man, another game between two teams that have definitely lost multiple games this year because of bad kickers. The Indianapolis Colts and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
The Colts have come back down to earth and I think shown everybody why Andrew Luck was as regarded as highly as he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're all honest with ourselves, Jacoby's done an admirable job filling in. But let's be realistic. This Colts team would not be 6-7 if number 12 was back there.
Yeah, and it's so tough. I mean, with a guy like Andrew Luck, when he retired, probably the most underappreciated quarterback in the league. It's tough. It's a tough situation for the Colts to be in because, I mean, Jacoby Brissett's done all he can. Let's be honest. He's had a good year. They've had injuries on the outside. I mean, T.Y. Hilton got hurt.
Yeah, that's a killer for them, man.
Exactly. And he was, even with Andrew Luck, he was their target. And, yeah, it's been tough on them. So, yeah, tough year for them. I expect Indianapolis to be decent next year. Vinatieri's hurt for the year. I think that might be it for his career, but if it is
really a bad thing.
He is the greatest kicker of all time, hands down.
Not even
nothing but respect for Adam Vinatieri, and Yeah, bummer that his career might end this way, but let's not forget his greatness, kicking for my least favorite team ever, the Patriots, but also kicking for the Indianapolis Colts. So
The Colts kicker in this game was the guy who choked the Seahawks game. Did you know that?
no, I had no idea.
I didn't put together it was the same guy. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Way to get a second chance, buddy. Good job,
Honestly.
man. Honestly, let's be realistic here. Jameis is coming back, fellas. Everybody knows it. The questions are over. He's so 100% gonna come back.
He's back. I mean, 4 touchdowns.
They're not gonna sign him to like a long-term deal, but there's something there. Man, he has 23 picks. Oh.
It'd be tough to give up on a guy like Jameis Winston, even though he does have 23 picks.
He has 23. I didn't realize he had 23.
Jameis Winston also gets a lot of touchdowns and has a huge arm.
26 touchdowns. He's tied second in the league in touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. He could lead the league in touchdowns and picks, which is pretty crazy. And that's a guy that he still shows bright upside. That's the thing. So, I don't know if Mike Evans was hurt for the whole game.
He left the game as soon as the possession after his touchdown.
Yeah, he pulled the Greg Jennings, put the team on his back, and ran in with a broken leg. If you don't know what the Greg Jennings is, it's the greatest Madden clip of all time. Google Greg Jennings broken leg on YouTube, or YouTube it, not Google it, and you'll see the greatest commentary on a Madden clip ever. So that was what happened with Mike Evans, and yeah, it's tough. Another guy that got hurt. You never want to see a guy get hurt like that. The guy that carried Johnny Manziel to get drafted so high and has really not been able to break out like he should have been because of the situation he's been in his whole career. So Mike Evans is a great receiver. Hopefully he can get back to healthy soon. And I know when Mike Evans is healthy, Jameis Winston is a better quarterback.
Yeah. Speaking of great receivers who have been on disappointing teams, let's move on to our next game and talk about DeAndre Hopkins and the Houston Texans getting slapped at home by the Denver Broncos. A quiet shout out to Deshaun Watson for putting up 30 fantasy points in this game, 25 of which came after the score was 31-3.
Oh my God.
It was a classic.
That's hilarious.
It was a classic. This is why fantasy football is stupid game.
Yep.
Yeah. So congrats. Still, thank you, Deshaun, for winning me my weekly matchup, my playoff game, buddy. It was looking
that's
bad,
huge.
But jokes aside, the takeaway from this game was Drew Lock. There's something there.
Oh yeah.
I'm not gonna go and be Bleacher Report and try and get John Elway kicked out of Denver because it's clear that they have their new Hall of Fame quarterback or something with tweets about him. Like the guy throws one completion and they're like, new superstar in Denver. It's like, calm down, guys. Like,
I guess that's how Bleacher Report has been getting clicks for years now. So
it's like, can we let quarterbacks play like 12 games before we induct them into the Ring of Honor?
I think I've gotten to the point when I look at a Bleacher Report tweet to just be like, okay, this is just purely for clicks at this point. Like,
oh yeah, they're professional clickbaiters.
Yeah, and they've made a ton of money doing it. So I'm not saying they should stop or anything, but it's pretty funny.
No, it's funny, but like it is funny because you look at their tweets and it's just like Drew Lock has played 2 games. He was like very okay last week, and this week he plays well. And they're like new star in Denver. It's like, okay, guys.
I think he played a decent game last week. Actually, I think
he was fine, but I don't think
he's been very promising. That's the way I'd put it.
Oh yeah, like there's something there. Don't get like there's 100%. That's what the takeaway from this game is. They're like, if you're a Broncos fan, you're at the very least excited going forward. Like there's something here, and they have to fix the offensive line because they might have the worst tackle duo in the NFL.
Yeah.
They have Mr. Hold, Garrett Bowles, starting at left tackle, the king of the hold, and yeah, dude, he's like, do you know he's led the league in holds 3 years in a row? Like the guy is,
I had no idea. That's bad.
that's not great. He's not very good. Yeah, so if Denver can shore up that offensive line and honestly I would like them to add a veteran receiver because
Hmm.
Courtland Sutton's a star. Noah Fant, there's again something there.
Yep.
And Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman is a great duo. But I would like to see them add a veteran receiver, almost an Emmanuel Sanders again, if we're being
Hmm.
um, yeah, the real thing this team needs to fix offensively is their offensive line, though. If they can fix their offensive line and give Drew a running game to play behind while he learns, there's something. This Denver team is quietly going to push for a playoff spot next year. Don't be
Yeah,
surprised.
that's what I was about to say. They could quickly become a playoff team next year if they can fix the holes on their team and have Drew
Yeah,
Lock as their quarterback healthy going into next year.
yeah, get him healthy. Like keep him healthy, let him learn, fix the offensive line, and then get Bradley Chubb healthy, and then
Hmm.
look out for the Broncos in the AFC West.
Yeah, it should be that's one of those teams to bet some money on next or this offseason, I think.
Yeah, because their over under is going to be lower than I think what they're going to put out.
Yep.
But a team that continuously goes under their over under and is also in the Broncos division is up next. The LA Chargers and Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh yeah, God. Do
This
we even
has
have to talk about this?
this has to be the game that this has to be the lowest rated NFL game in years.
Oh, 100%. I
These
mean,
teams, these teams don't have fan bases.
yeah, and my only question about this game is did Nick Foles get his job back?
No, he didn't. They didn't bring him back in.
Yeah, but you think he starts next week possibly?
Oh man, I have no idea. The Jags have been quietly one of the worst teams in the NFL for since they beat the Jets. Because listen to this: 26-3 against Houston, 33-13 against Indianapolis,
Mm-hmm.
42-20 against Tennessee, 28-11 against Tampa, and now 45-10 against Jacksonville. I think I saw they're the
Jeez.
first team in like 10 years to lose 5 in a row by 20 or more.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's 20 or more. That's real bad. Like that's what the people thought Miami would be all year, and we haven't been that.
Yeah, they're struggling. They are. Yeah, I don't even know what to say honestly. Like honestly, the best part about Gardner is he doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's why they had to get Foles out of there because he was turning the ball over, and the hope for them is that their defense plays well and keeps them in games. But their defense was horrendous in this game. I mean, they got absolutely diced by Phil
Yeah.
by Phil the Thrill himself. Did you see that catch by Mike Williams? By the way,
No, I didn't.
oh my goodness, it is on our Instagram. Go look it up. It was nuts. That's really the only reason anyone should watch a clip of this game. So let's move on.
Yep.
Um, and talking about honestly a low key playoff game.
Yeah.
I really think that whoever lost this game was going to be in trouble with the wild card and obviously their divisional races.
Mm-hmm.
And Tennessee went into Oakland and came away with a big time victory.
Mm-hmm.
The takeaways from this game are twofold. One, AJ Brown is a future or maybe even current star in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there's three, and they're all Tennessee Titan offensive takes. Man, Titans fans, it's been a while, hey? We got positive things to say about your offense. Positive, positive offensive Tennessee Titans takes. What is going on? The second take is Derrick Henry is a top 3 running back in the NFL right now.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is unbelievable.
He's
He,
so good.
he's absolutely balling out, and his size just makes him so hard to tackle, especially
Mm-hmm.
late in the season when you're already banged up. And then this 6'3" dude who runs like a 4'5" just runs into you. It's not fair. But
Yeah, that would not be ideal.
But the big takeaway from this Tennessee Titans team is they found their quarterback.
Oh yeah.
The news came out before the game that they were looking to extend him, and then he proceeded to go out and absolutely ball out and show the world why they're thinking that way. Ryan Tannehill, take a bow, dude. You've pulled an Alex Smith where you were underrated in your first stop, and then you've headed to your second team, and now you're going to finally get the respect you deserved.
100%. He was decent in Miami.
Yeah, same thing
When
as
he was
Alex
healthy,
Smith.
he was good. He not just good. He was a top. Like I would always say when Ryan Tannehill was healthy, he could play up to the ability of a top 10 QB in the league, and he's been showing that recently. I'm really happy for the guy, to be honest.
Yeah, he has been showing out and really kind of exposing, I think, Mariota quietly and showing how much talent is on this offense. That all it took was a competent quarterback, and all of a sudden the Titans are really good. I think they're 7-1 since they're either 6-1 or 7-1 in their last 7. They've been absolutely rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And when they went with Tannehill over Mariota, I think it was a franchise-defining move.
Yeah.
For the better, and it's definitely exciting for fans in Tennessee because they've waited a long time for an offense. Like we were joking earlier, but the reality is it's been rough there. And congratulations to them, man. You guys earned it. You guys deserve to watch some exciting things on offense.
For sure.
And then for the Raiders, I mean, this is the
Future's
Raider
bright.
team. Yeah, this is the Raider team we expected. Like they're gonna go 6-10 or 7-9, show some promise, and give people some hope after last year. They're they're a draft away from being a true playoff contender, which is kind of what we thought. Especially after they lost Antonio Brown. This team was supposed to have the superstar receiver, and I think we all forget about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes when we are looking at them. And if AB was there, they'd be a completely different offense, what he would add to them.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I was about to say, imagine if AB was there right now. They could be a playoff team.
Yeah, they really could be. They're a good draft away, and with the way Gruden and Mayock drafted last year, I can't see why I shouldn't believe that they're going to do a good job this year. They got lots of assets to either move up, move down, do whatever to help improve this football team heading to Las Vegas. But I think just to be able to say for them that the future is bright is a positive.
Yep, very positive. And I mean, this week I saw a couple reports from who was it? I forget who it was, but that they might be looking at a different quarterback going into next year. I think that could be interesting. I saw Andrew Luck's name involved in there. I think that would be weird, but
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, just kind of something that I thought I'd bring up. Something kind of funny that, yeah, is very improbable, but of course there's a possibility.
I'd probably give Carr one more year.
Yep.
Try and see what he has going forward, and if it's not working, then you can always draft a guy. But I think they should build up their roster and see what he is with a good team around him. Because like, there's talent there. Don't get me wrong, but and he's played well this year. Like, I think it's crazy how much criticism the guy gets. Frankly,
yeah,
you can do a lot worse than him. So I'd like to see them build up that offense for one more season. And if he can't get them to playoff contention next year, then I'd look at moving on.
Yep.
But until that happens, I'd stay the course with him and just keep it consistent within that organization that has lacked consistency for the better part of 25 years.
Yep. That's good. I'm with you on that.
Let's transition on to talk about a team that has only had continuity for the last 25 years. Paul's favorite team in the NFL.
Big time.
His Tom Brady jersey comes out every year. He loves to wear it.
Jeez. If I had one, I'd burn it, man.
You would not burn an NFL jersey.
A Patriots jersey, maybe.
You would not burn a Brady jersey.
maybe not burn it. That's too disrespectful, but
You definitely spit on it.
I definitely would not let it go in my closet ever.
You wouldn't want it to contaminate your other clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
A little bit toxic.
promotes cheating and other things that I don't believe in.
There you go. Put it that way.
But for the Patriots, like we could talk about the Chiefs. I think let's hit the Chiefs first because they're quicker and kind of easier for this. The Chiefs are back to being a Super Bowl threat, and if I was them, I would love that no one is paying any attention to them.
Yeah. This is the perfect time in the year to start peaking.
I love that they brought back Spencer Ware.
Oh yeah, I think that was huge for them. Their receiving core is starting to be all healthy now, and that's huge as well.
Mm-hmm.
And their offensive line has came back together. So
it's crazy how quickly people forget about Mahomes, man.
he is unbelievable.
Like as good as Baltimore has been this year, I can promise you they don't want to see 15 on the other sideline for that AFC title game. They want it to be 12 for New England, which is weird to say, but they do not want 15 to be over there.
Oh yeah, not a chance.
Because there's a world, no matter how bad this Chiefs defense is at stopping the run, where the Ravens could drop 40 points and still lose because Mahomes drops 50 on them. Kind of like the Saints Niners game.
Yeah, he's such a special talent, and considering that he's not even being watched by a lot of people right now, I think that's quite interesting because he's so good.
Yeah, he's been. I just love that they aren't getting the attention that they deserve, man. They're just so quiet, and they're definitely going to beat someone. I really think they're going to be in the AFC title game. I've thought that for about
I think so as well.
about 3 weeks now. That once we've confirmed, I think that New England isn't who we thought they were. I thought they were the obvious team to take their place, and they showed it this Sunday.
Yep, 100%.
Let's talk about the Patriots. We've kind of avoided it jokingly, and then talking about the Chiefs first. So let's do it. Let's dive into the Patriot mess right now. Brady looks old is definitely the first thing that's obvious about this team. But I don't even think that's the biggest issue with this team because even if he looked old, I think they could still find a way to win games. He looked old last year. The problem with this team is they have no receiving threats at all. And without Gronk, who added an elite extra blocker, teams can just stack the box on them and not allow them to run the ball. And because they have no running game, it just kills them.
Yeah, they
because that's where they excelled last year was the run game and play action in the playoffs. And everyone keeps assuming they're going to get it back, and I don't really understand why.
Yeah, they're not the team they were last year. They're very different this year. They don't really have any weapons on offense. Of course, getting rid of Josh Gordon, getting rid of Antonio Brown, both those things seem absolutely insane at this point. They make no sense to me why they would have done that.
The Josh Gordon was weird.
And it's only been hurting the team. I love to see it as a Patriots hater. And Brady hasn't looked good. I'll put it that way. He has not looked good. Of course, you say it's not a big problem, but Brady has been the lifeline for that team for the past 20 years. They've thrived off of him always being one of the top quarterbacks in the league, and he's too old to be a system QB anymore. He just can't get the ball downfield. You put any other quarterback in that system, they probably have 12 or possibly 13 wins this year, in my opinion.
The problem with this team is their receiving core is horrible. And so like that's why I'm not even 100% concerned about Brady looking old because like
The,
because like,
they may have a bad receiving core, but you also need a guy that can get those
I know I
any
know
receiver the ball past 30 yards down the field,
trust me
and Brady just can't do that.
I know that, but like he looked old last year. Like people were
Yeah.
in denial on that, but like they still were able to get it done because their receiving core was, although it wasn't as talented as the rest of the league, like it was not a great receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
They still had a high level of chemistry with Brady, where
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen Brady where they just cut to him repeatedly throughout the game, and he just has this look on his face where he's like, "Where are you going?" like like I've never
He
seen.
needs an elite. He needs an elite talent with him, and that's what
I
he doesn't have. I wouldn't
I
classify Julian Edelman
yeah
technically as an elite talent. Even Rob Gronkowski is the reason why that team succeeded last year, and without him, they've been exposed. And honestly, Brady's arm isn't as good as it was even last year at this point.
yeah
So
the problem was if when they had Gronk last year, you still had to respect him.
exactly.
Even though he wasn't as talented as he was in his prime last year, he was washed last year. Let's be real, but
Yep.
like you still had to respect him. The thing is now there's no one on the field other than Edelman you have to respect.
Yeah.
So teams are just doubling him, and so Brady is like they're basically just saying they're doing the Belichick to them, where they're saying we do not believe you can beat us if we take away this player.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, the Patriots have yet to prove that they can beat anyone once you take away Edelman. Like
Yeah,
all
they're
like
very one-dimensional on offense, and they're relying on a. They were at least not as much anymore, I think, but at the start of the year, relying on a guy that couldn't really pass the ball. So
it kills it kills them because in the last three drafts they've missed high picks.
mm-hmm.
Like the Sony Michel pick is a miss, whether you want to admit it or not. As a Patriot fan, he's been brutal this year,
Yeah.
and N'Keal Harry is finally doing something. Like he should have scored that touchdown yesterday, but
Mm-hmm.
that was his only catch. So back to back years, having a first round pick who barely contributes when you're trying to win a Super Bowl is not ideal. like that
Yeah,
is
it's definitely not a formula to succeed.
yeah, that's not one of those this is how you win a Super Bowl formulas. That's pretty much exactly how you draw it up how to mess it up.
Yeah.
So I think man, if you're a Patriots fan, I don't know how you're not at least a little bit worried.
Yeah, I would be definitely. And I think
Cuz
most Patriots fans are. I mean, go on Twitter and they're so mad about everything. I mean, that
like
Boston sports privilege is finally starting to be a bit of a lesser thing here, and the fans hate it. I think every other sports fan is quite happy about it, though. So,
yeah, you really just hate to see Patriot fans booing their team.
oh, dude, that made me so happy.
The best part was it was deserved.
Yep, 100%.
Man, that's what you get. Like, you can hate Boston fans, but you gotta love that they've been freaking amazing for 20 years. The Pats play three inconsistent games in a row and a bad half, and they're booing them. They do not
Mm-hmm.
care. They don't care. It's Tom Brady out there and Bill Belichick. If you are not playing up to the Boston standard, they will boo you. Like they don't care. It's
That's so
amazing.
true.
It's amazing. Uh, let's move on to the final afternoon game.
Yep.
The Arizona Cardinals against playing at home in quotation marks. Did you see how many Steeler fans were at this
That
game?
was insane.
The punt return touchdown by it's Deontay, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Deontay Spencer. He breaks free, and the crowd is just straight. It's just straight cheering. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it was hilarious. And they cut up like they did the classic like camera angle where they zoom in on the player as he runs into the end zone. So
Hmm.
you had like the landscape full view of the stadium, and it was like 70% yellow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Pittsburgh fans are known for being very supportive and traveling well, and yeah, they just showed it again. So
Oh, that was hilarious. I mean, the Cardinals are in the same position as the Lions, like we talked about earlier, where it's actually good for them to lose.
yeah, 100%.
They have holes, especially on defense, and they're they're a good off season away from filling them.
Yep.
Kenyon Drake, I like him there.
Yeah, I he was good in Miami. He was a good player. Uh,
There's some pieces
he's
there for
pretty
sure.
explosive. So yeah,
There's some pieces there for sure. Probably enough to bring Larry Fitzgerald back for one more year.
yeah, you never know.
He's honestly
Larry Legend.
he's probably just going to play one more year, honestly.
Yeah.
Just because he's going to be like, we're so close.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good bet.
And for the Steelers, Duck Hodges is a thing. Like
Yeah,
he's actually not terrible.
he's awesome.
I wouldn't go with awesome.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
He's not terrible.
He's a goat. Just kidding, a duck. He doesn't throw many ducks though. He actually throws a good ball, gets it to the receivers. I mean, you could say the exact thing that you were saying about New England with Pittsburgh this year. Bad receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster's been hurt all year. James Conner is he's not as good as people made him out to be, I think.
And then,
So
yeah, he hasn't played in like 4 weeks.
Pittsburgh's been a big surprise for most people this year, and hopefully they can keep it up. I've been enjoying watching them.
If they make the playoffs, that's such a cultural muscle flex.
Hmm.
I mean, how many teams can say that with all that's gone wrong in Pittsburgh, you lose your two best offensive weapons, your quarterback, and you still make the playoffs? Like, goddamn, man. Like,
Let's remember the fact that every single person was questioning Mike Tomlin's ability to coach a team
yeah,
when Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell kept acting up, and uh, last year went downhill, and all that happened. People were questioning Mike Tomlin, and he's came out and shown that he's a good coach.
the
So,
coach, the coach of the year is this year is pretty freaking interesting.
yep, I think it'll be close.
Um, let's go to Sunday Night Football.
Hmm.
Paul, what did you think of the Rams beatdown of the Seahawks?
Yeah, I thought it was a. I didn't expect it to happen like that. I thought the Rams were going to win. To be honest with you, I didn't think they were going to win in that fashion. Though it was quite a dominant performance. It looked like the Rams from last year, to be honest. Uh, just a powerful run first, play action based team that's going to fight hard on every down. That's what the Rams were last year, and that's what they looked like yesterday. And it looked pretty good, to be honest. So I don't know if they're going to be able to turn it around for a playoff run or anything, but it's promising going into next year. Todd Gurley looked a lot more healthy than he has before, and again, that's something that's very promising if you're a Rams fan. So
Yeah, their offense finally looked how it's supposed to look.
exactly, and Jared Goff as well played quite a good game. You'd like to see that from him. He's had quite a disappointing year if you're a Rams fan, and considering all the money he made, he should be playing better, of course. So yeah, kind of disappointing for the Rams how the year went, but it's promising looking into the future how the game went yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it was, it's nice to watch the Rams and not have the takeaway be a negative,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's felt so many times this year you'd watch them, you're like, God, that Goff contract's a mistake.
Yep.
Or why did they give Gurley so like there's just or like why did they give up a first like just all these mistakes they've made recently. It was nice to see it all come together at least once for their fans
Mm-hmm.
and for them to beat the Seahawks in a meaningful game.
Yeah, you could tell that they were. It was just they looked very relieved after it, and you like to see. I was happy to see that.
In terms of Seattle, I mean, they finally got exposed.
Yep.
I think everyone who's been watching this team in depth kind of knew that the Seahawks teams 10-2 and now 10-3 record was a little fake, considering the game they play is close. That they were eventually going to run into a team that was going to beat them, and they were going to catch them, and it finally happened, man. Like, I don't know what to say. The Seahawks are not as good as their record says, and if you play exclusively close games, you're eventually going to lose. Like, it's just how it goes. The good news for Seahawks fans is, as long as they beat Carolina and Arizona, which, I mean, why would we ever believe they wouldn't win those two games? All they have to do is beat the Niners at home in Week 17, and they win the division. Like,
yeah, it's interesting.
So as bad as last night was, all they have to do, they win out, and they win out, and they control their own destiny to at the very least get a bye. I'm not sure if they would win the conference if they win out exclusively, but if they win out, they will at the very least win that division. So, I mean, Russ, what a year! Yesterday was rough, though. I don't want to talk too much about the Seahawks yesterday, just because I think every team is entitled to that one game where they just play bad.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. Especially
where the Rams needed this game. Like, the Rams have to win out to make the playoffs, basically. And so because of that, they just kind of ran into a team that needed it way the heck more than they did.
Yeah.
The true test of the Rams will be next week when they play Dallas, because I think we're all excited with how the Rams played yesterday, but if they lay an egg in Dallas next week like they have the last couple weeks before this, then their season's over. So next week is a huge game, and then the week after, I mean, the Niners game, then we'll really know.
Yeah.
But let's let Rams fans be positive before they have to go play Dallas and the Niners.
Yeah, and honestly, it was a tough season for the Rams. Didn't go the way they wanted it to. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in playoff contention again next year. And
yeah, lots of talent.
If they win out, of course they can still make the playoffs, I think.
I mean, honestly, if they win out, they're going to finish 11-5. It's hard to complain about a year you go 11-5, and the Niners go 14-2, and the Seahawks go 13-3 or something like that.
Well, if you think about it, if the Niners lose to the Rams, or no, if the Seahawks lose to the Niners, the Rams win out, and the Seahawks lose one more game, I think that the Rams are in and Seahawks are out. I don't know. I'd have to look at the times they played each other and everything, but that's just off the top of my head.
The tiebreakers get weird, but I don't see a way the Seahawks don't win at least two more. So
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let's move on to Monday Night Football and eventually our awards. Okay, and Paul, Monday Night Football. I guess the best way to describe this game is the Eagles won, and they tweeted it out, a win is a win. But my reply back on Instagram was, is a win always a win?
Going to squeak one out in overtime past the New York Giants. Is that a win? I don't know.
And we're down until the last 2 minutes of the game, 17-10. Yeah, it was not a game.
Honestly, it was just a gross game. I was cheering for Eli Manning the entire time. Just for him to finish over 500 his career. That was what I was rooting for. He looked visibly frustrated after the game. That New York Giants team is bad, and this Philadelphia Eagles team did not look all that much better. They had 2 drives where they were able to put it together, their last drive of the game and their drive in overtime. Only 2 drives in the game, they put it together. That's bad against the New York Giants. And they're still probably going to make the playoffs.
But hey, they got the freaking Redskins next week, and then they play Dallas for the division.
Another tough game against the Redskins is obviously they're taking these weak opponents too seriously or something.
The Eagles have to have the easiest 4 out of 5 game stretch to finish a season in NFL history. They go Dolphins, Giants, Redskins, Cowboys, Giants.
It's
Yeah, that's rough, eh? Like, I don't know how you don't run the table on that, but alas, that's the NFC East this year.
Any team would take that gladly.
Yep. But Paul, I think you.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, the NFC East is just such a bad division that you can get away with being at 6 wins at this point of the year and still have a record.
Yep. Paul, I think it's time for
Yeah.
one. I think it's time for one of our favorite segments on this podcast. One of the great segments on this podcast. Here, for those who don't know, it is time for the soon-to-be sponsored Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? 5 coaches we're smarter than segment. Here we go. Number 5. A revenge win against the team that fired him wasn't enough to keep him off this list. But hey, at least his defense only holds other teams to field goals. Adam Gase, number 5 on the list. Number 4, his team has lost by 34 5 weeks in a row. They have simultaneously ended Minshew Mania and the Big Dick Nick Foles run. All in the span of 3 weeks. Doug Marrone, we'll see you never, man. You're getting fired in like a week. Number 3, Thursday Night Football was one of the worst showings anyone has ever seen from a team trying to make the playoffs. His team still hasn't beat a team with a winning record yet, but that won't stop him from clapping continuously. Number 3, Jason Garrett. Number 2, this guy has had offensive weapons such as Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard, and the list goes on. Yet somehow his New York Giants have a brutal record in his 2 years as head coach. In fact, his record is actually worse than Ben McAdoo, who came before him. Did you know that?
That's bad.
Pat Shurmur, your last chance of being a head coach, we hope forever, because we're tired of watching this junk. Number 2. And number 1. If you didn't know he would be number 1 on this list, then I don't know why you're listening. He's had maybe the worst season as a head coach in NFL history. I mean, last week he wore a t-shirt saying Pittsburgh started it to a movie the day before losing to them. This guy is such a bad coach. Everyone thinks we're getting tricked and that he's not actually real. Number 1, Freddie Kitchens, the worst head coach I think any of us have ever seen.
That's very true. I like that list. I think that if us with our Madden backgrounds were to go in with these teams and our Madden playbooks, we'd probably be better calling better offenses and defenses. So I think you made a good show with that list.
Man, Freddie Kitchens, baby, looking good, buddy.
That's tough.
He's definitely my favorite one and done head coach of all time.
Yeah, I think that's a good statement right there. I can't imagine him being the coach next year, but who knows? It's Cleveland.
Paul,
Well,
I think you know what time it is.
Yeah. Should we move on to our next segment here?
I believe so.
We haven't done it in a couple of weeks, so we've got some awards to get to, it looks like. All right, so we got our typical awards back here. We're going to start it off simple with our Matt Ryan Award, the Meaningless Stat Award.
With time, throwing deep to do. Touchdown! Here's Ryan throwing to Julio Jones. Touchdown! Ryan Pump throws Jones, and he'll score.
Balling out, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, gotta love Matty Ice. This week, he's not nominated for his own award, surprisingly. The nominees this week are the nominees this week are Deshaun Watson and Dak Prescott for their beautiful garbage time performances.
Deshaun with 25 fantasy points once the game was over has to be an all-timer.
Yeah, that's just impressive. You love to see it, especially during playoff fantasy season. So, yeah, it's good for anybody that had him on his fantasy team. That's for sure.
Yep.
Our next award is the Jameis Winston Award, the pick of the week.
3rd down and 3 for Tampa Bay. Jameis' pass intercepted. Sends the ball to the house. Touchdown Titans.
Beautiful. Music to my ears. Jameis Winston, you are nominated for your award this week. Congrats. You had that gross pick that was returned by Darius Leonard, I believe. Leonard. It was awful. Yeah. You love to see that. Our other nominee is Jared Goff. As we all saw, he had that disgusting stride. Right on the money, just to the wrong team. So, yeah, congrats to Jared Goff and Jameis Winston on being nominated for the Jameis Winston Award this week.
Congrats.
Our next award is the Veteran of the Week Award. So our Veteran of the Week nominees, the Veteran of the Week award just goes to a man that played like a true veteran should. Like their body can't handle playing the game of football anymore. We have 2 nominees, Eli Manning for his triumphant overtime loss and his return to put him below 500 for his career. And Tom Brady for showing his age once again. We've been seeing it for the past few years, of course, but leading the league in underthrown balls by 10 yards, pretty much guaranteed stat. Haven't even looked into it, but I bet you that's a thing. Looked like an old man this weekend. Veteran of the Week nominees, Eli Manning, Tom Brady. Congrats, boys.
How's his hairline getting better? You notice that? His hair is voluptuous now.
There's these things called hair plugs that LeBron has used. I guarantee you that Tom Brady is using those, as well as the steroids I guarantee you he uses to keep in shape. But the NFL would never do anything about it. It's Tom Brady, let's be honest. Moving on.
Paul's not better at all.
Moving on to the Second Stringer of the Week award.
Not everybody will play. The bench is cold. He needs the bench warmer.
It's a tough
I
rap
love that
song.
song. So this week we've got a couple nominees. We've got a man that caught one pass for 90-plus yards, ran it into the house.
Have a
A
day,
true second
buddy.
stringer. When you have the opportunity, you take advantage. And Olamide Zachius, I guarantee you I botched his name, but congrats on that catch and run and touchdown. You love to see
Shut
that.
up, Matt Ryan, for that ball too. That was a freaking throw, man. Holy.
Oh, that was a Matt Ryan from 3 years ago ball right there. Our other nominee, sadly, is going to be moving on from being eligible for this category as Devlin the Duck Hodge, which is however you say his name. He went off. He's a legit starting quarterback in the NFL at this point. Next year, once Big Ben's back and he's the backup, he'll be able to be eligible for second stringer of the week. But Devlin Hodges, this is your last nomination for the year, buddy. You did a great job. Our next award is the What the Flip Award.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Love it. So we've got a couple nominations, wacky things that happened around the NFL this week. The refs in Kansas City versus New England, a little bit wacky. Of course, we all know
Took
N'Keal
away-
Harry did step out of bounds. That's a
Okay,
fact.
buddy.
Nobody
That's
can
not
try
a
to
fact.
nobody can
It's
try
so
to
not a
prove me
fact.
other. The refs called it. This is more of Will's entry than my entry, to be honest. I thought the refs called a pretty good game. Of course, Patrick Mahomes was
Refs
injured in the
take
second
away-
half, so he couldn't bring the electricity that he did in the first. And
Oh
I mean, the
my
Chiefs
God.
still got the win. Last year in the AFC title game, of course, the refs called a god-awful game for the Chiefs. If D Ford was offside, then N'Keal Harry was out. He was out of bounds, so I'll put it that way. Our next nomination is Sean Payton's play calling.
Ugh.
Well, just
Man.
give me a little bit of a briefing into Sean Payton's play calling as a Saints fan.
An end around on a 2-point conversion to Taysom Hill. A fake punt where he just throws it up and it's clear the guy is not up. Like, it was just, why are we doing a fake punt here? Oh my God. It was rough. There was at least 3 that were just, what are you doing, Sean? Why?
And
And
sometimes
then
his genius hurts him, you know?
The speed option to Taysom on 3rd and 6. They lost 3 yards because everybody knew what was happening. And it was like, man, if only we had a Hall of Fame quarterback and the best receiver in the NFL to gain 6 yards. Oh, wait. We do. So why the freak are we running a gimmick quarterback around the edge at right edge Nick Bosa and then being surprised that it didn't work?
Yeah, it seemed like an odd play call, that's for sure. And there were a couple of them. So congrats on the nominee for the What the Flip Award, Sean Payton. Last but not least, we have the Wasted Award. Love to hear it. Our Wasted Award nominees this week go to 2 teams that got absolutely pumped. The Houston Texans. Jeez. Yeah, it was not a great game for Houston. Somehow Denver beat them. Still kind of scratching my head about
Denver was up 31-3 on them. They didn't just beat them.
that. Yeah, I have no idea what happened there.
That was
so confused.
That was a classic. That was a classic. You're caught watching another game, and it comes on Red Zone, and you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
They're up
exactly.
28 points right now. What?
just make no sense. And then the other nominee lost this week, knocked out of playoff contention. The Oakland Raiders, tough go. Yeah, so it's our award show. It's been a good one. Nominee show. We'll give you the awards. Yeah, we'll be back later this week with all the winners of the awards.
Yeah, so I guess that we can get out of here. So for Paul Guado, my name is Will Baldwin. If you're still listening, we are appreciative but confused as to why. And we'll see you guys later in the week. Bye, everybody.